with yet another Xbox quote unquote exclusive confirmed not to have a physical disc release. It's avowed, in case you didn't see, what will happen with Xbox's great backwards compatibility next gen when they won't offer a disc drive. Frankly, I don't know why they bothered with one this gen, considering most Series X games use the disc just to initiate a download. Xbox has basically become the Xbox One E3 2013 vision. John! Exclamation point. I like this bit. Would you like to take point on this one?
Oh man. uh I mean, you know, oof. I guess okay. So first of all, he says Xbox has basically become the Xbox One E3 2013 vision, and thus far, that's not entirely true. Because of the fact that the one thing that was missing was like what they were talking about back then was even if you did buy a disc version, you needed to activate each copy, and if you essentially sold that copy, um, you know, that you wouldn't be able to just sell it or give it to somebody and then they just use the disc and then the disc is the key. There was a more of an online registration component to it. And
Right.
there's definitely shades of that in this with like activating the console and whatnot, and which isn't great, but man, uh BC next gen, they most like, so that is actually interesting. Like, you're right, on the next generation of consoles, I almost don't see. Wait, did they actually confirm? Oh no, it's the Xbox exclusive he's talking about. But like the next gen console,
Yeah.
I could see it not having a disc drive at this point. But he's right in that for backwards compatibility, there are a lot of owners that are still using discs from 360 from the original Xbox with their system. And in fact, despite the digital push, there's actually a fair few number of games that are backwards compatibility that only work with the disc version, as in there is no
Correct.
downloadable version otherwise. So it would kill that. I find
Yeah.
that very odd and kind of at odds with what the whole BC program was trying to be. Uh,
There's a problem now, of course, in that if you had an Xbox One or an Xbox One S and you migrated to Xbox Series S, you can't access any of your disc games, and that is a problem.
yeah,
And, whenever we've spoken to Phil, he's all about, bringing your games with you from one generation to the next. And the concept that you can't do that with Xbox One to Xbox Series S, I think, is a massive issue, and it needs to be addressed. And if they're going to be going to all digital for next gen, then that need becomes even more pressing. So what happens? I mean, how do you do that? Do you have like a trade-in program or something? Is there something on the disc, perhaps a leftover from that from the 2013 vision that basically allows you to essentially trade in a physical copy for a digital one? We just don't know. But this is the big problem I've got at the moment is that, and it's a similar problem that we've got with the PlayStation 5 Pro, in that, I think the people that bought the Pro are people that have probably got physical discs that they'd like to use.
hmm
I mean, I've just sent my drive to Tom because he couldn't buy one. He can't play his PS4 games on PS5 Pro. I mean, I've got a Slim at the back there, so with a disk drive. So if I need to move that across to my Pro, I can do that, right? But he can't, and it's similar. There's no options at all if they go fully digital Xbox
Th-
next gen. I think you're right. I think they might. There's got to be a problem,
mm.
a solution to this problem.
What's funny, Rich, is this is anecdotal, of course, but a lot of my in real life friends actually did get the PS5 Pro. They're hardcore into this stuff. They were excited for it. They bought it. But every single one of them said that if the disk drive had not been available, they would not have purchased it. So
Right.
without the disk drive, it would have been a non-starter. Uh, but I think that's more true on the PlayStation side and certainly on the Nintendo side. Whereas I think Xbox owners in general, Microsoft has been slowly grooming them to move away from discs to the point where the Xbox fans online will often fight you for asking about physical. Like when you talk about this stuff, they get very mad about it. They don't want to hear about it. It's like, no, it's Game Pass, it's digital. You shut your mouth about these discs. Is the feeling that's the feeling I get from people. Like they not only don't care about them, they seem to be against them in a weird way. Some people, but that's just the online hardcore. Uh, I do wonder what this means though for like, because families and stuff, and I think physical discs still play a lot of roles in terms of getting stuff at a good cost. But again, there's the Game Pass stuff, and I mean, I think Microsoft's just gonna kind of quietly move forward with this regardless, and we will probably never have a solution to these disc games.
Yeah, my thinking on this is that if Microsoft in 2020 was content to ship a console without a disk drive backwards compatibility component to it with the Series S, and if they're content in 2024 to ship a flagship version of their higher end premium console without any accommodation for discs at all, then I think probably in whatever year this launches, in the next few years, whatever, they will probably also be content to not offer a disc compatibility option on that machine, I'd suspect. And yeah, with Game Pass and with the relatively high percentage of digital sales that are on Xbox in particular, and also across all the console platforms that we see today outside of Nintendo, basically, I think they're more than content to just say, yeah, we'll have software backwards compatibility through the Xbox service, but not through disc copies of the games that you might own.